The sky over Ethelgard did not move. It was a static, searing gold, held in place by the will of the Golden King and the geometry of the great firmament. In the center of the capital stood the Cathedral of the Dawn, its spire piercing the artificial clouds like a needle through silk. Joshua Lucian climbed the external scaffolding of the spire, his hands calloused and stained with the silver nitrate used to polish the sunglass. To the city below, he was a ghost, the son of the traitor prince, kept alive only to serve the very monuments that celebrated his family's slaughter. "Don't look up, boy," a voice rasped from below. It was old Haman, a fellow tender. "The light eats the eyes of those who seek its source." "The shovel is getting heavy, Haman," Joshua whispered, repeating the old family code. "Then dig faster," Haman replied, his eyes darting to the king's paladins patrolling the plaza. "You can't bury the truth forever. Eventually the dirt runs out." The shattering. The tremor happened at midday, if day had any meaning in a land where the sun never set. A structural groan vibrated through the spire. Joshua, harnessed to a gargoyle, watched in horror as a hairline fracture spider-webbed across the Ethelgard holding the sun window. With a sound like a dying god, the glass detonated. Joshua shielded his eyes, expecting the flash of the divine. Instead, he felt a rush of freezing, stagnant air. He looked through the jagged hole. There was no heaven. There was a frozen, snow-covered, stretching into an infinite horizon. Above it, the sun wasn't a star. It was a pulsating clockwork eye of gold and barbed wire, humming with a low, predatory frequency. He saw the harvest in its raw form. Thin, translucent ribbons of light rising from the praying citizens below, being sucked into the eye. Each ribbon was a year of life, a memory, a spark of soul. The descent into shadow. Joshua didn't flee to the palace for help. He fled to the archives of the House of Lucian, hidden in the flooded sewers. There, among the rotting tapestries of his ancestors, he found the map of the Dark Zones. He realized then that his uncle, the king, wasn't a protector. He was a farmer, and the citizens of Ethelgard were the crop. The monsters his family had supposedly consorted with were merely those who lived in the Shadowlands, the places where the king's surveillance spell couldn't reach. Joshua crossed the border that night, slipping through a drainage pipe into the true world. The Shadowlands were cold, bitterly cold, planned snow-covered. He met a woman there, her skin the color of the moon pale, her eyes adjusted to the dimness of the moon. "You're a Lucian," she said, her voice like grinding stones. "You have the blood of the architects. Your fathers built the cage. My fathers were the ones who refused to live in it. They told us you were demons," Joshua said, shivering. "We are just people who prefer the cold truth to a warm lie," she replied. She showed him the hollow hero, a massive ancient statue of the king's father. They cracked the stone open. Inside it wasn't gold, it was filled with the charred bones of thousands. The history of Ethelgard wasn't a chronicle of progress. It was a ledger of consumed lives. The true knight Joshua returned to the capital not as a conqueror, but as a saboteur. He carried no sword, only a forbidden scroll of true night and a vial of his own royal blood, the key to the firmament's lock. He scaled the spire one last time as the king's paladins closed in. The king himself stood on the balcony, his face youthful and radiant, though he was 4 centuries old. "Nephew," the king shouted over the wind, "do not do this. They are happy, they have warmth. They have purpose. If you break the light, you give them nothing but the cold and the responsibility of their own lives. They will hate you for it." "Let them hate me," Joshua said, his voice cracking, "but let them see the stars." He smeared his blood across the central conductor and spoke the words. The firmament didn't just break, it unraveled. The golden sky peeled away in burning strips. The artificial heat vanished, replaced by the terrifying, magnificent chill of a real atmosphere. The great eye, the sun, shuttered and died. For the first time in 1,000 years, the world went black. Then, slowly, the silver light of 1,000,000 stars pierced the veil. The final image. The morning came, but it wasn't the morning the people knew. It was a pale, weak, natural dawn. The citizens of Ethelgard huddled in the streets, screaming in terror at the void above them. They didn't feel liberated. They felt exposed. Joshua Lucian was dragged to the plaza in chains. He looked at the people he had saved. They threw stones. They called for the Sunbringer to return and for the Shadow Traitor to burn. The king, now looking ancient, grey, wrinkled and trembling dying, stood by the executioner.